What's cracking, y'all? You are now watching Boo TV. Appreciate you for stopping in. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and let's get into the topic for today. What's cracking? Back with some more reaction videos to the wise words of Larry Bird. Some more Larry Bird interview content. I've been on the record saying I love watching certain players get interviewed and just love to hear what they got to say about basketball or about life or whatever. I just love it, and Larry's one of my favorites, as is Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Love hearing these guys talk, and I've noticed through some of the recent interview content, especially the Larry Bird interviews, a lot of other people really enjoy it too. So that makes me happy that we can, watch this together and bond on it. So that's what's up. Big shout out to Dutch T, who's keeping the content coming inside of the video and content recommendation hub, where she puts all the recommendations and all the content ideas for me to react to and lace together. So Dutch T, I appreciate you. And she hit me up with some more Larry Bird interviews. So we're going to look at 3 of them in this one video, combine them. The first one's going to be from January 1992 with Quinn Buckner. It's about a minute long. The second one's going to be from August 1992, Bob Lobel interview after retirement announcement. And the last one is from 2019 ISU 40th anniversary interview, where he explains how he studied teammates. All right, with no further ado, let's get into it.
When did you really know that you had the talent? When you knew you could take it to the next level and be a professional?
I really didn't know until I got here. I played against some professional athletes in college in the summertime, and it was really basically the same thing happened in high school. They always said you never played against the great competition in high school. Well, I went to college, and it was the same thing. Well, you never played against a UCLA or a Notre Dame or an IU, and it was the same rap I had. Once I got out of college, I came to the pros, and, well how's he going to do? He won't be able to get his jump shot off in the pros, or he won't be quick enough, or he won't be able to rebound. And I think it took me probably 3 days after a rookie camp. I found out that, hey, this league is nothing. I can play in this league, and I will dominate in this league.
What told you in those 3 days you could do it?
Because I was doing it in practice against some great players. And I know everybody never always thought, well, practice, if you do it in practice, you got to do it in a game. Well, if I can do it when nobody's in the bleachers watching me, I can do it when there's a lot of people in there.
I love it. He's like, it took me 3 days to realize this game ain't shit. I'm about to dominate. How long did it take you, Larry? How many years for you to realize? 3 days? 3 days? Yep, that's it. No, I'm Larry Joe Bird. And it's going to take them a longer time to figure out how to deal with me, because it only took me 3 days to figure out that I will deal with everybody. Good luck trying to figure me out for all my years of playing.
Got to get back to reality and try to keep my life going.
24 hours has elapsed. Any thoughts? Has it really sunk in yet, or are you still kind of numb?
Not really, because I got a pretty tough week ahead of me. I got a golf tournament, and there'll be a lot of people in Terre Haute. Really no one knew about it, so it's all a surprise to everyone. So when I get back there, I'm sure everybody's going to be wanting to be around. Then I got to go back to my hometown, and it's just going to be total chaos for about a week. But after that, I think I'll be able to reflect back and see what I really did.
Well, more on Bob Lobel's interview with Larry Bird at 5 and 6.
Tell you about Larry Bird, but I think you know.
Constant whining. We want to thank Larry Bird for serving as a model of what it means to reach for the best, for reminding us that sacrifice leads to excellence, and for reinforcing the value of the work ethic. In this, he has elevated not only the Celtics, but also the city of Boston, and all of us who have cheered his skills, admired his determination, and now feel the loss that he will never again wear the Celtics green.
Larry, on the way back to French Lick, Bob Lobel talked to him. We'll have more on that at 5 and 6.
That'll be good.
I want to hear more from you, because you have the...
In sports, day 2, after Larry Bird retires. Bob Lobel?
All right, Elizabeth, yes, indeed. 30 hours have passed since Larry Bird announced to the world that he is retiring from the game of basketball, but it is still very much the talk of this town today, indeed. Bird said some final goodbyes and signed some autographs before hopping a plane to Indiana this morning. Of course, he'll be missed, but assured us we'll see plenty of him in the future.
I enjoy Boston. I always caught a lot of flack like I didn't like Boston. I've always enjoyed being here, and I'm going to come back and live here and just try to live a normal life. But I got a job to do, and I'm going to try to do it the best I can.
We spoke to former teammate and good buddy Dennis Johnson last night, who knows a thing or two about these kinds of retirements.
He did exactly what he could for basketball.
and believe it. He's going to enjoy himself more when as retirement. I know he has his little son and Dinah, his wife. He's going to enjoy him a whole bunch more. The memories will always be there, and you're always a competition. You always want to play, but after you sit out a year, it tells you not to.
Meanwhile, last night at Fenway, Roger Clemens honored the retiring Bird by donning the number 33 in his cap. It only lasted an inning before the Angels made him remove it, but what a commendable gesture by Clemens for Larry Bird.
Or a few other guys, numbers that you owe a lot of respect to, and Larry's definitely one of them. A lot of, he's going to be missed, especially in this city. I know he's going to be around to some capacity, with the Celtics, but definitely miss seeing his play on the floor over there.
Well, I did have a chance to talk to Bird this morning one-on-one, and you'll hear that at 6 o'clock and the whole interview at 7:30. He talked a lot about Roger Clemens, about the gesture that Clemens came through with last night. He talked about being a superstar in this city and about a lot of things, and very interesting today, and some new stuff from yesterday's press conference.
Okay, Bob.
All right, Elizabeth. Look forward to it. Already been sentenced to life in prison. Liz?
Larry Bird's emotional goodbye gripped all of Boston yesterday, as well as Larry himself. Bob Lobel spoke to Larry this morning. He joins us now with an exclusive interview. Bob?
All right, Elizabeth, thank you very much. I'll tell you what, does anybody in recent memory remember all the press and outpouring for the retirement of one athlete? Pull-out sections, both papers, front pages, of course, in both papers. Well, we woke up this morning, read the headlines, and realized it was not all a bad dream. The reality has set in that we will not be seeing Larry Bird again in a Celtics uniform. Bird left from Logan on a charter flight early this morning. He's off to Indiana for his annual golf tournament and admitted he hadn't yet read one word of these newspapers.
Did you have a chance to read any of it?
Not yet, but got a long flight, so I get caught up on all of it. It was a special day for me. It was not a real sad day, but a very emotional day. So it's all over now, and got to get back to reality and try to keep my life going.
Has it really sunk in yet, or are you still kind of numb?
Not really, because I got a pretty tough week ahead of me. I got a golf tournament, and there'll be a lot of people in Terre Haute. Really no one knew about it, so it's all a surprise to everyone. So when I get back there, I'm sure everybody's going to be wanting to be around. Then I got to go back to my hometown, and it's just going to be total chaos for about a week. But after that, I think I'll be able to reflect back and see what I really did.
What he really did. You have much more, of course, coming up in sports, and tonight at 7:30, the whole interview, plus the effervescent ML Carr, one of his favorite teammates, live from his summer retreat in the Carolinas.
Okay, lots to come.
Sorry.
Last night at Fenway Park in Boston, Red Sox franchise Roger Clemens paid tribute to the retired Celtics franchise Larry Bird, wearing number 33 on the side of his cap. The Angels said it was a distraction, so he changed caps and he shut him out 8-0.
That's one thing that I will never lose, is the respect for the older players and the guys that have done great things, because I know the work behind it and what it takes to be a champion and to be go down in history, one of the best players ever. And, of course, Larry is that in basketball.
Nice move by Roger. I think his fastball was more of a distraction to the Angels. Well, the morning after the day before, when Larry Bird retired, some of the game's greats were still reacting to the departure of the basketball legend from the Celtics. Among those to comment was longtime teammate Kevin McHale.
He had a great career. He had everything that anybody could ever ask out of a career, except that he didn't stay healthy at the end. And I think if Larry could have anything to do over again, he'd probably just want to be healthy when he went out, so you could go out at your best.
He's one of the greatest players to ever play the game. I think him and Magic Johnson, them two, are solely responsible for the financial boom in the NBA. And I think all basketball players owe them a great deal.
Obviously, I got to work a lot harder now. With the void of not having Larry on the team. Not only myself, but the team collective. We definitely got our work cut out for us now. Because first of all, you don't replace Larry Bird. You just try to fill the void. And that just tells you, the type of talent that we're talking about here. Because he's definitely not replaceable.
Gotta love the Chief.
One of retirement for Larry Bird started with a trip back home again to Indiana. Larry will host his 9th annual golf tournament Friday in Terre Haute, but on Wednesday, while Larry said he doesn't want to coach or be a TV color commentator, some other famous athletes were Bird talking.
The friendship has grown to a lot of respect for one another on the court and also off the court. And I have a lot of admiration and respect for Larry. And definitely sorry to see him go. Larry's had a brilliant career, and this is an issue that all of us got addressed at some point in time, and this come time when Larry had to address that issue, and he made the best decision for himself.
That's one thing that I will never lose is the respect for the older players and the guys that have done great things, because I know the work behind it and what it takes to be a champion and to be go down in history, one of the best players ever. And of course, Larry is that in basketball.
It's very, very touching, and I was very moved by it. I have a lot of respect for Roger, and I don't know what to say to him because I was really touched by that.
When they talk about Big Bird in the state of Indiana, this is not what they have in mind. This is the state bird of Indiana, Larry Bird, #1 in the nation.
But it has been a long time, and I'll probably forget a lot of the stuff that happened back then because everybody probably sees that year through their own eyes, and things have changed since then. But the things I remember is going into that year, right before the season, Coach King got sick. And as players, I don't think we knew who was going to be our coach. I was having second thoughts about maybe I should have went ahead and went to pros at that time. But all that got ironed out about a week or so before the season started. Truthfully, I think that the thing that helped was he recruited most of us. So we knew him. I probably knew him a little more than the rest of the guys because when I first got to Indiana State, I had to stay with him for a couple nights. So I knew his family. His children were very small at the time, but you know, it really...
His wife is gorgeous. Wow, man. Y'all know I love my retro ladies. If you don't know, I love my 70s, 80s, 90s ladies. Whew, gorgeous woman.
If you think about it, it was new to all of us. We had no clue what we was getting ourselves into. It just sort of happened that as a group, we came together pretty quick. We worked hard. It was really trial by error, but once the season got going, we got on a roll and we started winning games. And it seemed so easy, but it wasn't as easy as it looked because we had a lot of new guys, and some of the guys came here and thought they were going to get to play a lot more than they did. And some of the guys probably didn't think they were going to get to play much, got to play. It's just really the top 7 or 8 guys played most of the minutes, and Hodges got it down pretty quick of who he wanted in the game, you know, what situation or what time on the clock. Hodges did well for us, and I really don't know what happened to him after I left because I was so consumed with the pro game I really didn't follow it that much.
Right.
But and I don't see him very often, but I hope he's doing well, and yes, he is deserving because putting a team like that together and spur of the moment, then have to coach that team, he did a pretty good job. Yeah. You know, we were fortunate. We had the backing of the students, which is always great. No matter if you're a basketball player, football player, you always want the support of your peers. And we had it every game, you know. I mean, they were there, they were supportive, and you knew not all the kids, but some of the kids on campus, and the excitement that was built around all of it. And that was her go-to before the game, is steal every bit of toilet paper they could on campus and throw it up in the air. Made them happy. Yeah, I have run into him over the years a few times, and he does come over here quite often, which, you know, our door is always open to not only him, but a lot of the coaches, all the coaches, to try to see and better themselves of what we're trying to do here. But he has reached out, and he's done a good job. I've watched him coach some games. He's an excellent coach. He knows what he's doing. He's from a coaching family, and you know, we wish him nothing but the best. The one thing about me is, you know, I've been so busy the last 40 years of traveling and moving, and not really been, you know, I'm a little shameful about it. I haven't been back as much as I should. Terre Haute's always been good to me, and I've always enjoyed going there. I just don't get back there enough.
Have you watched the '79 game with Michigan State since that year?
No, I haven't. I've seen clips here and there over the years, you know, but it's always the same clips. But just to watch me play. I mean, when I was in the pros, the only time I ever watched myself with the ball was when I was trying to figure out my teammates. I played with a number of the guys for a number of years. And what I try to do is find out their instincts on certain plays. If they set a high pick, what are they going to do?
Right.
How are they going to react?
Right.
If they set a low screen underneath, where do they want the basketball? I would do that because people are creature habits. They're going to do the same thing over and over, and we ran the same plays over and over. Does Kevin McHale, when he sets a pick, does he roll to the basket or does he pop? Well, Kevin pops all the time. And Chief, if he got within 13 feet, he's going to stop. But if he gets all the way to the rim, he's got a chance to get the rim. So I just try to pick up things when I watch tape. But it's never about sitting down watching a basketball game and see what I did or, how I looked at it completely different from when I was in college when we used to watch tape with the coach to when I got to the pros. It's a different mindset of how you're looking at things. Well, the reason is because it's sort of just out of the blue, Mid-major school doing what we did, have an opportunity, a chance to get to the finals and then play against a great basketball team in Michigan State. But just coming together that quick in 1 year. My teammates back then are all good guys. I enjoy my time with them. I don't see them as often as you like, but it'll be just like yesterday, Once we run into each other, it's
all love.
Take off where we left off, Good group of guys, good guys.
I remember in his I think it was his retirement interview. I remember him saying that it's like, yeah, the emotional part, the sad part, I've already kind of passed that stage. That was before I came up here. That was the day before, I had to come up here and talk to you guys, where it really hit me emotionally with sadness. So he's like, that part, I've dealt with it and I've handled it. I've coped, and I can move on. So, first of all, the fact that would never happen today. Like, people do that all the time now. They dedicate, commemorate players in different kinds of ways, on their jersey, on their shoes, writing things on their shoes, on their hat. The fact that they made Clemens a little 33 on his cap was distracting. Give me a break. I guess it's just a sign of the times, I suppose. But that's something. I don't know about baseball. I don't watch baseball. I don't know if they have different rules as compared to basketball. But in basketball, you see that all the time. Players do these kinds of things all the time, and in very different ways, different kinds of art. They find ways to, wear it on the court. So, and then what Robert Parrish said was a million right there, man. It's like, he's like, we got our work cut out for us. There's no more Bird. And that is a huge void in a team when somebody like Larry Bird leaves. He's like, you have to fill a void. I'm like, Parrish? And I know. That's a void that cannot be filled. The best you can do is find some way to get some duct tape, patch it up as the water's still leaking out the seams, and you just keep trying to patch it. But there will never, like Magic Johnson said, right? There will never, I probably done messed the quote up, but there will never be another Larry Bird. There won't be. It's been how many years? We haven't seen a player quite like him. Probably never will in our lifetime. Yeah, that's a void, man. You take a piece like that, man. He was the nucleus, like we said, the nucleus of that team, the heart and soul of that team. He did so much. Put people in their positions. The flow of the game. Leadership. Tactics. Bailouts. Miracles. His impact was certainly felt when he's on the court. Sometimes you don't realize how big that impact is till it's not there. And then, do you really feel the impact of a player when they're not there anymore? That is when you really understand it. Damn, I miss Larry Bird. I remember after Shaq left, Kobe always knew how dominant Shaq was. He knew. And he knew everything Shaq meant to the team. the impact he had on the court. And I remember Kobe saying, I think it might have been the first or second year after Shaq. And in an interview, they asked if he missed a big fella. He said, absolutely, I missed a big fella. And then he ended up winning championships with Pau Gasol, and it took some of the edge off, right? And then the Dwight Howard situation happens. And after dealing with Dwight Howard, he said, I really miss playing with Shaq after having to play with Dwight Howard. If I could find that soundbite, I'm going to react to it. I got to find out what interview that was where he made that comment like that. But anyway, yeah, Bird, and never be another one. Never be another one. And it's fun, me going back, checking out all this Bird stuff, all these interviews, because, 1992? How old was I? 5 years old when these interviews were going on? I was in kindergarten, man. Bird's up here having retirement ceremony, or doing interviews on his retirement, announcing his retirement. I had no idea. I'm playing with blocks, doing the national anthem in the beginning of class, eating that nasty ass cafeteria pizza, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the saran wrap. Oh God, I hate that stuff. Ugh. Larry Bird certainly did miracles for that university. Put them on the map in a way you might not have ever seen a single player put a team on the map before. Bring them all the way to the championship game against a well-known school in Michigan State. And, players coming from schools like Larry Bird was from, you don't get the best players normally. It's they're not able to scout the good players to come to the schools like that. So for him to do that and bring that team to the mountaintop and just fall short is incredible. And there's a reason why he has a statue out there. He's done a lot for that school, for that campus. And, he talked about always having the fans, the student body always having your back, which is true, which I feel is true for most colleges. The college fan base are extremely supportive, and they will die for their school. I mean, they feel like they are part of each and every one of those sports clubs because there is more. That's their home. They are directly involved with the school, and they're going to root for their teams, where you don't get that same type of fandom to that level in pro sports, representing a city so much as the kids that are there every day, or every day for the ones that live on campus, and the ones that aren't there every day, whether part-time or full-time, or there 3 to 5 days a week, all over the place, building relationships with the rest of the student body, wearing propaganda, sporting. They bleed for their school. And when you graduate and you stick it out long term and make it out, that's a part of you forever, especially. Like I've graduated from this school, so many memories. So especially, having that kind of support from the student fan base is big, man. Like those college arenas are nuts. I don't watch a whole lot of NCAA sports, and usually in pro sports, you're like, this organization has one of the best fan bases, this one doesn't. I haven't heard of any major university that generally has had a bad student fan base, or ones that weren't very supportive, or they don't show up to games, or they leave games early, or things like that. I don't know. I don't watch a whole lot of NCAA, so if there's a school like that, let me know. But I've always felt a different kind of energy on a consistent basis in college sports as opposed to pro sports, man. And it's different, man. These kids are playing to achieve something, to make it to the next level. So there's a different type of commitment that comes with the players. And, I'm pretty sure when I was in college, I went to the University of South Florida, but I'm pretty sure that at least for the basketball games, I don't think we had to pay for tickets. I'm pretty sure we got them free. I could be wrong. My memory could, maybe it was discounted tickets, but I could have sworn we get them free, or maybe just really discounted. I don't know. I can't remember. I could be wrong there. And like with Larry Bird, I spoke about this in another video not too long ago, especially with that Boston Celtics thing when he was talking about understanding Parrish, understanding McHale. Yeah, and he's like, I don't really watch a whole lot of tape. I knew he was going to say that because a lot of players really don't watch tape of themselves just to watch themselves. If they watch tape of themselves, they're watching tape for a reason. They're analyzing situations. They're analyzing reads. This is where I messed up. My bad. I didn't see you. I didn't read you properly in this scenario. This is how we handle it. This player shift over. I need you to go here. I'll be looking for you. They do it to critique themselves and to better understand, like he said, players' tendencies, where they like to be, how they like the ball, where they like the ball, where you expect them to be. And like he said, it's a pattern. People go back to what they know, what they feel comfortable with. And once you understand that pattern of activity, and you have evidence with a pattern of life of data, you can better hone in on these scenarios and situations and connect on them with greater efficiency. And people that study game tape, there's a reason why it's part of preparation. Even not just studying game tape of yourself, the other team, what's your assignment? What are his tendencies? Got to study the film. And once you understand where this player likes to be, where they're comfortable, where they're not comfortable, you will have an advantage. Very well said, Larry Bird. Anywho, that's all I got to say about it. Again, Dutch T, I appreciate the recommendations here, and I'll lace this up and we'll get this out here very soon. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and I'll catch you on the next one, folks. We out, baby.